Hey y'all, it's Adore, and here are my final thoughts and review of Devil May Cry 5. The story is where I'm gonna start, and in this game, it's full of consistent stakes regarding the fate of the world, but its lackluster narrative and basic plot points marry weak vocal delivery across the board. The game has excellent pacing, as the demons you fight increase in number, scale, and difficulty as you progress, sprinkled in with various cutscenes, but I felt like I wanted to skip most of them, as the dialogue bored me, and nothing all that memorable ever really happens. The world is coming to an end, and Redgrave City is under attack. Our heroes are wrestling against impossible odds, and they're faring poorly. Standard action drama, right? Two characters, Trish and Lady, have been captured by Urizen, which is the demon that's responsible with planting the demonic tree that's currently decimating Redgrave City. He is using them to power two demonic bosses that you're going to later encounter in the game. It's up to you to defeat them, save them, and stop Urizen. But of course, as with every Devil May Cry, you'll do so with style. Devil May Cry 5 is an impressive next-gen game with all the bells and whistles you expect from such a title in 2019. Detailed character models, both friend and foe alike, are constantly awash in dizzying and dazzling special effects. Monster design is as gruesome and disturbing as ever, and enemy introductions are done in a spectacular fashion, very Borderlands-esque. Devil May Cry features complex backdrops with increasing geometry and verticality as you learn its many mechanics. The environments on show here mostly consist of urban landscapes and otherworldly hellscapes filled with blood and veiny walls, but there's unfortunately really no other environments to speak of. And the environments serve little purpose other than being places to fight and platform across. Quite a bevy of graphical options exist if you really want to make Devil May Cry look its best, but I mostly stuck to the default settings, with a few tweaks here and there, such as increasing ambient occlusion. On an ASUS 1060, I had a few diffs in certain fights, where demon spawn truly flooded my screen, but overall, performance held strong at 60 FPS. The starting character and nephew of Dante is Nero. After his arm gets ripped off, which is a story spoiler, a character called Nico creates a new set of attachable prosthetic arms for him. These are called Devil Breakers, and she makes various different ones throughout the story. They all do unique attacks, and they can be charged up for a devastating special attack, or broken off and replaced with the next breaker in your arsenal. They can also be customized prior to any mission where you play as Nero, and the system allows you to decide your own playstyle. If there are any Devil Breakers that you don't have a particular fondness for, you aren't forced to bring them along for the ride, so just swap them out for your favorites instead. Punch with electricity or generate shockwaves, execute impressive tricks with a rocket-propelled hoverboard, or fire giant bolts of energy with Mega Man's signature Mega Buster weapon. One thing that always keeps the action flowing and the player on their toes is that being hit while attacking with any Devil Breaker will cause it to break. That can feel especially punishing, if that was the last sweet surrender you had and you needed it to heal yourself. It pains me to say it, but the next character, V, is boring and basically mumbles all of his dialogue. I didn't find that endearing at all, I simply hated it. His combat system is fun though, and so I found myself choosing to play as him more than I expected. All V can do is finish off enemies, a skill that's certainly needed in a world overrun with demons. But his summoning skills are on point, allowing him to summon demon creatures like a shadow cat, which, if you've already seen Captain Marvel, will likely remind you of a certain creature in regards to its abilities, as well as an eagle with ranged capabilities. Once you fill your devil trigger meter and dye your hair white, you can also bring forth a hulking giant. Spawning this nightmare is often accompanied with apocalyptic attacks like meteors that rain down all around you. It's truly biblical, and speaking of books, if you ever find yourself short on Devil Trigger meter, you can just whip out your poetry book and start reading aloud to fill it. It's incredibly silly, but it adds something pretty special to this Marilyn Manson knockoff. What other game lets you read books in the middle of battle while shadowy creatures dance in combat at your bidding? My favorite character in Devil May Cry returns for the 5th iteration, and he's probably the most powerful we've ever seen him. Dante is able to use various swords and guns. He can switch through all of them easily in between combats to dramatic effect. I had the most fun once I beat the game and started playing on harder difficulties, as much like the pacing in encounters, the pacing for unlocking abilities is almost perfect. This system ensures that you always feel like you're progressing, and that the memorization of new skills is definitely worth the effort. Conjuring swords all around him that autonomously attack any enemies, while spinning upside down and unleashing a flurry of bullets. Firing rockets, sending out waves of energy from multiple unique swords, or smashing a demon's face up with motorcycle fists, before putting those pieces together and diving up the tail of another. There's never anything that isn't interesting or flashy when playing as Dante. Once his final Devil Trigger ability is unlocked and he enters Sin Devil Trigger form, you're in for a transformation of demonic proportions, both for Dante himself and his many abilities. All of the playable characters in Devil May Cry 5 are super fun and interesting, but the inability to choose any character for each mission, instead being locked into certain roles, drags down the game in my opinion. Adding further salt to the wound is that every time I was forced to play as a new character, the cornucopia of moves and abilities was simply overwhelming, and I'd often forgotten how to play each one effectively. The music in Devil May Cry is pretty good, but some weird choices have been made at certain sections, including inside Nico's customization van. This is a place that you're going to spend a lot of time, because it's where you buy your Devil Breaker ammunition for Nero, or upgrade your skills for any of your characters. And throughout any level, if you can find a phone booth, you can summon Nico and her van, allowing you to customize on the fly. Now onto difficulty. Probably one of the best things about the game is that once you reach Son of Sparta difficulty, which is unlocked whether you complete the easy human or normal Devil Hunter mode, things really change up a bit. The various difficulty modes is a very welcome addition here, as many games these days, I'm looking at you Anthem, make the decision to only increase enemy armor and health while buffing their damage, ensuring that you just never feel very powerful. Encounters in Son of Sparta mode and the other difficulties will feel entirely different, since almost every section has been tweaked with new enemy placement and demon formation, as well as significant changes to bosses, giving them new attack patterns to always keep you on edge. Dante Must Die difficulty adds more aggressive enemies, and if you hammer on them too much, your enemies can now enter a Devil Trigger mode to counter your own. It also buffs their health and damage, as do all the other modes. Heaven and Hell mode turns Devil May Cry into a straight shooting gallery, since you and all enemies die in just one hit. Fastest speedrun ever! Finally, Hell and Hell will likely block you from ever achieving a platinum trophy for Devil May Cry 5, as you're going to need to beat the game on this difficulty, and it includes all the changes from the previous modes, but only you die in one hit. All your enemies remain as strong as ever with buffed health and damage. All of this culminates in an impressive set of replay options, without even talking about secret missions that you can beat and unlock if you find them in Devil May Cry 5's puzzle-like levels. You can also try before you buy any skill you see in the various skill menus for each of the characters by going into a void mode. This will allow you to set up different enemies, as well as several other things, and it's just a fun thing to play around with. I do wish, though, that I could upgrade any character anytime, rather than needing to go back to the main menu or unlock a mission that stars them before getting access to their skill tree again. A minor annoyance, but it's notable in my eyes. This, Devil May Cry, is probably the best game in the series by a long shot, mixing the best pacing and combat system into its web of hellish levels and exciting boss encounters. It's sure to please fans, and is a nice departure from the often too cartoonish looks of hack-and-slash RPGs available on the market this year. Notably, Kingdom Hearts 3. This is a darker Kingdom Hearts, basically, with enough variation in playstyle and an excessive reliance on gunplay. Maybe the next Devil May Cry will have a storyline at least as good as perhaps the weakest Final Fantasy title, Dirge of Cerberus, a game which also focused on guns. Devil May Cry may have you save the world, but it certainly has lost its soul in the process. Well, that's my review. I hope you liked it, and if you did, there's a like button down below, and if you didn't, there's a less happy button you can click. But you wouldn't want to do that and do bad things to me now, would you? Subscribe to the channel and ring the bell, because if you don't ring the bell, then you won't hear from me very often. Sad face. Please comment your thoughts down below, and as always, share the video. Above all else though, no matter what you decide to do, have a wonderful rest of your day. Okay, bye-bye.